started in a very casual way, and that tone that we set has continued. And even though we have 8 or 9 writers at any given time, we still operate from this place that's just very familial, and we work like an 8-hour day. A lot of writers work until like midnight or go all night on certain nights, and it's just very manageable.
Back before Portlandia, we used to have these little videos that we would do under the name Thunder Ant. And it was just us doing these little shorts, and they didn't have any jokes in them or anything. We did the feminist bookstore, I remember. And just when we started shooting them, right away we knew that we loved working together. We knew that it was something that we wanted to keep doing. And then we had just all these videos online, and it was easy to pitch to IFC.
We thought that we were going to have Fred and I sort of be in the intro of the show every time, in the little interstitials with he and I. So we shot, remember that intro? I was living in New York, and we shot a little bit in my
kind of like a Key and Peele format where
yeah.
you would be introducing the clips and stuff.
Exactly. So we sort of, that was our original intent, but then things always change once you start, working them out and developing them further.
I used to be, my name used to be SNL, and then as the years went on...
I mean, in New York, people shouted at you.
Yeah, that's what they shouted. And then all of a sudden, and then little by little, I was Fred Armisen, and I was like, hey, that's great. Wow.
You're finally yourself. That's so cool.
Now, and over the years, it's turned into, you're the guy from Portlandia. And I'm not exaggerating, I'm not trying to make up a story but really, that's what people say to me now. So it's taken over. So my ego got sort of like up and then just hidden away behind the name of the show.
And are you the gal from Portlandia when people see you? Or from Sleater-Kinney, the baddest, awesome rock group ever?
Actually, I get Carrie Bradshaw most of the time.
Who's been your favorite? I know it's hard to choose, but who's come in and maybe done something that you didn't expect?
I thought Martina Navratilova
right, I forgot about that.
Was really surprisingly wonderful. Because you never know with athletes. You just hope that they're game and sort of, ready to dive in, and she was wonderful. And so was Greg Louganis. We've had weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's always hard to pick. So that's why I'm sort of going in that direction, just because they really did surprise me and really made those scenes.
Which characters will you miss the most? Miss spending time with?
Tony and Candace, for sure. I love them. We love writing for them. The silliness in the writer's room when we're coming up with scenarios for them is out of control. IFC actually had to rein us in a little bit this year on some of them.
Wow, that doesn't happen very often.
It does not happen very often. But, yep.
To their credit, but there was one thing where we were just like, oh, I guess.
Really want to know what it was.
Yeah, no, yeah. Also, anytime that we're Kath and Dave, like A.O. River, that was just something that, I came up with on the day, and it's just the dumbest expression, and then Fred sits down and writes a letter as Dave, and you call yourself King River or something. It's just, there's a lot of breaking, because when we get into the improvisational moments, everything's unexpected, so you can't prepare. There hasn't been a table read that sort of inured you to the humor of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there was one called No Olympics in Portland. And so we were supposed to go around with a torch going, no Olympics in Portland. And it was us shouting it at the same time. And something about it, the wording or something like that, made us laugh so hard. But the crew didn't find it funny. They weren't like, oh, you guys are so lovable. It was just like, we couldn't do it,
Which characters do you identify with the most? Fred and Carrie?
I don't know. Those are
pretty different.
Yeah, they're way more guileless than we are, and gullible. And I like that, because it's easier to write for those characters, because they just,
They have bad intentions.
I think they have.
Remember the protest?
I feel like they have good intentions that turn out badly.
Yeah.
I do identify with Kath. I would say that Kath occupies about 10% of my real personality. And that's just the ability to kind of become unhinged at any given moment. But I think that a lot of us, that is a part of, that occupies most of our personalities, or some people need more of it, some people need to dial it down. But I kind of appreciate her ability to kind of access her anger. It's not always useful, and it's and sometimes it's really annoying. But I kind of like that feistiness, and so I do relate to her in a lot of ways.
She's asking if you're preparing for something that's improvised, how do you do it? I think that's what you are asking, or maybe not. Oh, you said it's more for Carrie. I'm like, blab, I'm like chattering away.
No, but that's fine, because I was curious how you were going to answer it.
I was going to say, I had a pretty good answer, actually, which is that we lean on the art department. So if it's something we're supposed to be picking something up and saying, how about one of these, or how about one of these, we make sure that there's a lot. So that, like instant garbage. That was something about stuff you buy that you throw away right away because it doesn't work. You know, like chargers and stuff that are, you know, just crappy ones. So we just made sure there's a lot of that stuff to choose from.
Yeah, I think it's about making sure that there's scaffolding from which you can deviate and set off from. So, you know, when we need to make sure there's a good outline for with the script, so that we know, okay, here are the beats. We have to get, like, this is the story, so this improv has to get to this place. And you can take a lot of tangents, but you want to get back to that center, to like the next rung in the ladder. And I think we've learned that, you know, over the years, if we're going to lean heavily on improv, that we need to build that scaffolding first. And part of that infrastructure is, you know, this amazing team we work with of, you know, our art department, wardrobe, hair, you know, all that stuff lends itself to the creativity. So it's a collaborative effort, for sure.
I also think improvising sometimes you can kind of sense it a little bit, like you can start kind of see it coming a mile away, and there's like a new tone to improvising. You could just tell everyone's having too good of a time. You know, like you could see their brain working, like coming up with like another crazy thing to say. And
I find that very distracting, actually, when I start to see, maybe it's toward the end of the episode, if they think, oh, let's play with the last 5 minutes, and then it takes me out of it.
in movies too, you could tell that the crew is all cracking up, you know?
They could have lost that scene, probably.
Yeah.
What has it felt like to see the end of this? Is it emotional every day? Do you have a sense of how this is all going to look at the end, or are you feeling your way through it?
I think like our main concern is just making a good episode and coming up with sketches that are relevant and funny. So that's all we focus on. When we're in the writer's room, we're just pretty hard on ourselves. Like, let's make this a really good one. And I think that's where we're at. That's what I think.
Yeah, and we discussed it at the beginning, not wanting to like double down on the, you know, final episode. That's one freedom you have with sketch, is that, you know, you kind of come in late and you leave early in the story, and you can kind of dive into the world whenever you want. And I think we kind of wanted to leave with that same sort of impressionistic take on it. Yeah, I mean, we talked about, I don't know, killing everyone off, or.
But it's,
but
you know, it's just
people would be like, who? What is that? What character
Yeah.
is that? Like, there's not the same relationship to the material or
I
to
think
the
Spike
character.
has had it coming for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you both for coming.
Thanks for
Thank
coming,
you all
guys.
for coming. See you out in the reception.